Hi guys, and welcome back to the Surf Podcast. We're back again with another episode. I am your girl Esther TK,
My name is Fumbi.
And my name is Sean Rashid.
and today we have a very special guest in the building. Can I hear a whoop whoop in the building first of
Whoop,
all?
whoop.
Awesome. We got the Mr. Godfidence. If you guys don't know about Godfidence, go and check it out. Mr.
They know.
Godfidence himself. He's a
Visionary.
minister.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
yes,
a
yes.
minister. Mr. Earl Blackman. Let's get a round of applause in the building first of all. How you doing, Earl?
I'm good. Thank you for having
All right.
me.
For those who don't know you, can you introduce yourself a little bit, please?
If you don't know me, then where have you been?
No, legit.
I wonder.
Yeah, my name is Earl Blackman. Minister. I work. I own business. I'm just here to have a good time until Jesus calls me back, until he comes and walks across the sky. So yeah, I'm just here to. I'm here to be cool, man, and just chill. So yeah, that's
Vibes
me.
in life.
Mhm.
Love that.
Okay, so we want to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah,
So I'm going to throw some this or that questions at you. Just tell me which one is more you.
Let's do it.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Movies or a book? A book. Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Adventure holiday or beach holiday?
Beach holiday.
To show off the muscles, I hear it.
Yeah, my life is too adventurous already. So, yeah.
Plantain or plantain?
Definitely planting. Even ask Google.
knew he was gonna say that.
Google.
was
Where are you
really-
from?
Huh?
Where are you from?
Caribbean. So
Okay, that's
it's
why.
always gonna go that way.
Planting.
So, yeah.
Academic or creative?
Creative.
Text or calls?
Depends on the person.
Oh, that's true.
It's true.
Staycation or vacation?
What's can you stay?
So staycation is like in the country that you live in. Vacation is abroad.
So like Cornwall or something.
Cornwall.
What the
Yeah.
hell is in the UK?
Vacation.
To be honest, that's the truth. I think everyone would say vacation,
Yeah,
especially if you
get
live in
out.
the UK.
I don't
What
mind
weather?
staycation.
Versus vacation.
I don't even get why people travel in the summer. That I don't get.
It's a British.
It's a different sun.
Yeah,
Nah.
absolutely.
Summer,
There's
you
no
don't know if
sun
you're
in this
gonna get-
country. The little sun that we have, just enjoy it.
No.
And then in the winter, go and enjoy real sun. That's
You
my
could-
But the
Why
sun
can't
here is
you do
still
both?
unstable even in summer.
Yeah, but there's nothing else for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You're gonna be here anyway.
Old
My age,
Testament or New Testament?
New Testament.
Okay, so let's start off with tell us about your early years and kind of where you come from, family setup, how you got led to Christ. How did you become a Christian?
How when you say family setup, like how deep do you wanna go?
As deep as you're
Let's
willing.
go deep.
Do you guys know my history and family and all that
I
kind of stuff?
don't
Like,
know.
okay, cool. So about to open up a whole distance. So
Let's go.
I'm adopted. When I was 1 week old, I was taken away from my mum because she was on drugs. She was a criminal.
I was nice, man.
I wasn't ready.
And so
Imagine
I was
it's
put through the foster care system for a bit. Then I was looked after my auntie for a little while. That's where my but my knowledge of God came into. And then I was adopted in Kent at the age of like 4, I think. And then I was there with who I call my parents for like 22 years, and then I moved back to London. So yeah, that's history. Yeah. So up until saved, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So normal dude playing football, wanted to be a footballer. Then I got injury. Okay, and
As
then
we all do.
as we all do.
Yours was actually injury. Mine was fat.
Oh my
Low.
God.
Later years, 16, 17, 18, got into some gang stuff. Small, like I wasn't like deep in, like, so I don't want to say like sit here like Pablo Escobar, but we experienced some stuff. And eventually I come to a place in my life where I was asking God, there has to be more to this. I couldn't go into certain areas. People were looking for me. I just had a birthday party. People ran up in my house. Like it was war. And my auntie that had adopted me, she had died recently at that time as well. And so I just began to ask some questions, like there has to be more to life than this. So one of my friends, he went to church. He invited me to church. And then that kicks the whole process of me getting saved and being introduced to Jesus. But if you want to know any more, you can ask whatever you need to ask.
So what made you like fall in love with Jesus? Because like a lot of people some people go church and they're like, nah, that's not for me. So what made you stay?
What made me stay? I encountered God. So when I first gave my life to Christ, I said, well, when I was on the edge, I was like, I'll give you 4 weeks to prove that you're real. And if you show me that you're real within 4 weeks, then I'll commit everything to you. And within that 4 weeks, I saw some interesting things. and I was like, all right, cool, I hear it. Let's do it. And I thought like just meeting God, I've always felt like misunderstood or like people don't get me. So when I met Christ, one thing I knew about him is that he understood me through and through, inside and out. And so I was like, this is the only guy that I know that understands me, that knows me inside and out, that sees me. So I got to give him everything. So yeah, that's why.
What kind of things did you see in those 4 weeks that made you think, okay, no?
There were small things, but it meant a lot to me at the time. So there was one time we went out, we was evangelizing, and there was a guy that was like drunk out of his face or whatever, and he was laying on the floor, paralytic, couldn't move. And my mentor at the time, he said to him, I command you to get up in the name of Jesus. And this guy was like flat out, couldn't do anything. And he stood up. And then I was just like, oh, okay. And then like he started speaking like in some like different tongue. And then he started screaming and manifesting and all that kind of stuff like that. And I was just like, I think it was like the day before or something like that, I was reading about like demons manifesting and I was reading New Testament and then Jesus casting out demons and stuff like that. And so for me, that was enough for me to say, all right, cool. Yeah. Because, you know, when I was in the world and stuff like that, I used to get drunk all the time. And so I seen people in that state and I know what it's like to be in that state. And there's no way you're getting up and there's no way you're moving like that. So I was like, all right, cool. And then further on into my journey with God, I saw what made me go, so I was cool, but what made me say, all right, cool, hours of prayer every day in the Word was, I had this encounter where I woke up one night and I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything. The only thing I could do was think. And something was like holding me in my bed. Can we go here?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
okay.
No,
Okay, all right, go, because
yeah.
you know who you got here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
Go for it.
So something is in my bed. It was holding me, and I couldn't speak. And this voice said to me, "I'm coming for all the young Christians." And then when I heard that voice say that, I said, "Jesus, if you love me, you wouldn't allow this to happen." And then when I said that, now this is real life. This is not no dream. This is real life. When I said that, the noise of thunder went across the sky, and then whatever was on me just went shh, and got sucked through the window and then up into the sky.
And you saw this?
Yes, this is. Yeah, I've seen some.
Hey, we're gonna hear it today.
And then so it went up into the sky, and then from that day forward, I said, yeah. This thing is very, very real. So yeah, that's what made me start going overboard.
So in terms of, so from then, how did your journey into ministry? What was that like?
So real simply, so I went to a church in so like I got saved around about 18, and so I was going to church. There was a few young people in that church, and so I used to like just organize prayer meetings and stuff like that. That was like the intro, and then after doing that for a little bit, one of the ministers at the church, he had a university campus, and he was leaving. He had qualified from uni. What did you do for
Graduated.
Graduated, that's the word. Graduated for uni, all that kind of stuff. So he's moving on to the next stage. And so he came to me and he said he wanted me to lead the university ministry. And then that was like my first proper step into like ministry. On my head button, this plant. And that was my first step into ministry. So that's how I got into it.
From there, what were sort of the things, so what were some of the lessons that you learned? 'Cause I don't think a lot of ministers share the actual lessons they learned while progressing.
Stay away from girls.
Apostle Paul style.
I'm here for it, you know.
Of course.
I'm similar. I'm like, move from the girls, move from the men.
No, I think some of the biggest lesson I learned is keep the main thing the main thing, and Jesus is the main thing. You're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as anointed as you think you are. If Jesus was to leave you for 24 hours, what could you really even do? And so it's just always be focused on your personal development, focus on purity, focus on good character, focus on serving people, like all of that kind of stuff like that. I mean, we can get caught up in, like study your word and all that kind of that, but it's these things here is what like sinks ministry ships. Do you understand? Like, not focus on your personal development, your relationship with God, like your character. One thing I know is it's like through my experiences and stuff like that, like I just know that you struggle as human beings. Sometimes we struggle with stuff and all that, and that's fine. But just understand you're like just purity, heart, mindset, all that kind of stuff like that. Have that at the center of everything before you start thinking about miracles, signs and wonders and trying to grow a big ministry and all that good stuff there.
And how do you kind of get people to understand? 'Cause I think people follow the signs, the wonders, the miracles. They see someone operating under a special grace or special anointing, be like, yeah, that's definitely a man of God, and he could just be doing witchcraft. But because of the charismatic gifts and etc., how do you kind of, for yourself especially to start with, but also kind of speaking to other young ministers growing up, how do you kind of ensure that no, you stay grounded on your character before we, the fruit of the spirit, before chasing after the gifts and etc.?
Okay, let's talk about like from a minister's point of view, like someone that wants to walk in miracles and all that kind of stuff like that. That's a chain reaction of you just walking with God and you just loving Jesus. Do you understand? The Bible talks, when it talks about the gifts and stuff like that, it says that these things shall follow them that believe.
Yep.
So gifts and stuff will naturally flow from a place of you just being with God, you just loving God, you just praying, you just talking to Jesus and all that kind of stuff like that. And it flows from there. Like, and make sure that's the main thing. Like Christ at the center, you being with God, you loving God, you having a heart for God. That's the main thing, and let everything else be secondary. In terms of how do you ground that in the people that you follow? Like whatever draws them. Do you understand? Like whatever. If you came to my ministry because you like my beard, come because you like my beard, right? But when you get there, right? Whatever reason you came, because you like Jal, you liked a guy, you thought we was gonna earn money, we're teaching you Jesus. Do you understand? So if miracles and all that kind of stuff that draw them, cool, whatever draws them, but then we get them grounded. And that's the main thing. Like people see miracles and all that kind of stuff and God working, that's good. But when they get there, we're teaching Jesus and we make them understand that the reason why you're seeing what you're seeing is because we keep the main thing, and that's Jesus at the center. So, yeah.
I think I saw on one of your old Instagram stories, you was talking about people kind of following different ministers, different pastors because of their giftings or because it looks cool or whatever. But they themselves are not changing. And you gave the example of how I think you said you hadn't had a mentor or a spiritual father since the age of 19. What is your perspective on that? Is it that you're completely against it? And how have you, without that, if you still don't have that, how have you maintained like the fire?
My concept on spiritual fathers is they're necessary, but I feel like that concept is idolized heavily in this generation.
All generations, I think.
And
that's interesting.
And a lot of people don't actually, the person that they call their spiritual father, they don't actually have a relationship with that individual. I think even if you're looking at what scripture calls, Paul said there's many mentors and many leaders but few fathers. So like in terms of me, like I've had like systems and structures. I've had accountability there where I'm accountable to friends and all that kind of stuff like that. There's people that have come into my life for periods of time in terms of like for mentorship, for help, to oversee and all that kind of stuff like that. And then seasons change and then God brings another person. But in terms of like your spiritual father isn't supposed to keep the fire, help you keep your fire, and your mentor they're supposed to guide you and help you and stuff like that. But the fire is a personal thing, or your passion for God or your desire for God is a personal thing. Like my mentor can't give me desire for God. My spiritual father can't give me desire for God. That's something that you have to work out between you. So in terms of how have I kept the fire or how have I kept passion, is that like he's all I know. Do you understand? Like since 18 or 19. God is all I've known, and I've lived like that since then. So it's just like the moment I start walking away from that, it's just like nothing else makes sense. So when he becomes your life source, like you can't, it's just almost like, oh, well, how do you stay passionate for air? Flipping, I need air.
Yeah, you need
Do
it.
you understand?
Have you ever had a time where you've like fallen away, backslidden?
No, I've had a time where I've messed up and I've been walking silly and doing silly things, but I've always, after do silliness, then you go back up to your house and you say, Jesus. Do you understand? But yeah, never backsliding instead of, but I've been, if you know, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
So considering that you are like a public facing minister, how do you kind of get back on track when you've had those moments?
But when you have the moments of like messing up and just, and that's that like you have to have that personal revelation. I need to fix my life. Like forget public.
Yeah.
This between me and God, this is not good. Do you understand? Like before we start thinking as a minister, this is not good, or as a public, like one-on-one, if I say I love like I need to fix my life. And then secondly, because also you think about I'm a public minister, people are watching me,
Yeah,
I need to be right for them. But main thing is I need, like, one-on-one, I need to fix my life. I need to be right with God, whatever. I need to fix what I'm doing, and that's the main thing, and everything else flows from there. Like, I do not, I'm a public minister, but I don't live my life for the public.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I think we don't see a lot of that. I think some ministers think public first before they think like, oh, my congregation, my sheep. I need to make sure that they still stay with me and all of that kind of stuff. And
no, let them go. If they, like, no, like if it means
no, legit. Like,
if it means if your relationship with God is going downhill and you need to look a certain way to maintain the people, I'd rather the people go. Do you understand? And I'd rather people go and me be good with God than people still be here. And when I go back and I lay down at night, I think, bro, I'm not living how I should be living. So, bro, like whoever needs to go in order for you to get right with God, let them go. Type situation.
So how do you balance that mentality with also recognizing there are people that actually do look up to me in terms of I need to be on track because me falling affects the faith of X, Y, and Z?
I'm not sure if this is the right thing my main thing is I need to be right with God.
Yeah.
Like, as long as I take care of that, then the other stuff me being right for the public and all that. Like, yes, it comes into mind if I'm messing up or whatever. Oh yeah, the public. But my main thing is like, if you focus on one thing, the other thing will take care of itself. As I say, if you look after the pennies, the pounds will look after themselves. If I look after my relationship and I make sure that I'm right with God and I have my systems and my structures and my accountability system and my covering and I got that all in place and I'm passionate about that, everything else will work itself out.
In terms of ministry, what are kind of your main areas? If that kind of makes sense.
Is it like a Sunday church now or
ministry right now? We're doing a lot of stuff online. We're about to start up a fellowship next month, hopefully, by the grace of God. If you come to anything that I do, if you listen to anything that I teach, my main thing is intimacy with God. Being with God, loving Jesus, having a heart and mind going all out for Jesus, spending time with, that's the main thing. And then we branch off into other things. If you was to, my core message is always Genesis 1:26, or 1:26 to 28. 1:26, Genesis 1:26 to 28, which is understand that we've been made in His image and in His likeness. So that's representative figures. We've been made in the image of God, and that we're on this earth to have dominion. And to live in dominion and have authority in all areas of life. That's my main message. The prophetic stuff and all that kind of stuff, that it comes out because that's what people want to see. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, people want, like, people are addicted to the prophetic. Like, oh my gosh, prophetic conference, prophetic this, prophetic worship, prophetic church, prophetic meal, prophetic gathering. Like,
that says something though of where we're at.
No, you know what? I thought it said something until I was talking to God about it the other day, and He flipped it on me. I'm like, why is everyone obsessed with the prophetic, this, that, and the third?
As well.
And He said to me, because people want to hear my voice, and it's interesting what the enemy can take anything that
just to
is
clarify,
pure.
when you say my voice, as in God's voice or your voice?
Definitely not my voice.
Okay, let's make it sure us. Yeah, just to clarify. I knew that, but I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I keep running it as well, just in case people, it comes out,
like,
people say, oh, so he's God.
Oh,
Whatever it doesn't sound good, like, run me up. So, God's voice.
Yes.
I'll answer your question. This is a rhetorical question. Who taught you how to hear the voice of God? How many churches do you know teach people how to hear the voice of God? Just a rhetorical question. Like, burns, right? But like, think about all the churches you've been to. Like, how many churches have you said, okay, today we're just going to have a session on hearing the voice of God. We're going to teach you the foundation. Most people that I meet, and I've been doing this ministry now for 14 years, right? So I've met a lot of people. I've mentored and helped a lot of people. Most people I meet have never been taught how to hear the voice of God. So in a particular setting, the voice of God is rare. So then when we think about the prophetic, we think, oh, we're hearing the voice of God. So wherever the prophetic is, I'm going to run there because I have a hunger to hear God. But also, ministers as well, everyone is like, the prophetic is very small. When we talk about the spiritual world, it's a world. It's almost like being like, oh, the UK and only knowing London. Do you understand? Like, there's so many different. There's so much more to the spiritual world than just the prophetic.
Yeah.
And people have to clamp everything in that. And I'm saying, when I was introduced to this stuff, I was introduced to the supernatural, which is everything. The prophetic, miracles, the signs, like is everything. But there's people who want the prophetic. Some of it is perverted a bit, but I think it comes from a genuine desire to hear the voice of God. That was a very long-winded answer, my fault.
Because that's actually interesting. Like, it's not that they can't hear the voice of God. Like, because the Bible says that that He will pour out His Spirit on all men. But the fact that the equipping of the saints in that area isn't like far spread across the thing, which is now causing a hunger and, in a sense, from the other side, prostitution of the prophetic, in a sense. Like, so it's our well, not me personally, but the minister's responsibility to actually teach that. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's not that God's not speaking. God's speaking all the time. I remember someone said years ago, like, God doesn't speak often. I'm like, he's called the Word. So if you call the Word, it's I don't know how you're not speaking. He speaks all the time, but it's just that a lot of us haven't been taught how to recognize when he's speaking. So, I mean, like, there's certain things, like, have you ever like found out how to do a new thing on your phone, and it's like, bro, your phone did it all the time, and you're like, whoa, like, I didn't.
You've just come into the realization.
Do you understand? Like, that? It's like, it's literally that. Like, the moment you teach people, oh well, the reason why, when you start to pray, you start to remember things that you've forgotten. Is because your mind is ascending, and now it's beginning to operate in a realm that it's supposed to operate in. You're now becoming aware of the presence of God, and now all of your potential is now operating that spirit. And that's why you start remembering, when you start praying, it's like, I forgot to put on this. I forgot to put. Do you understand? Because now you're giving your mind to Christ, and now you're beginning to operate how you're supposed to function. Do you understand? And so when you teach them things like this, it's just like, dang, I've been doing this all the time. And it's just like, yeah, you just didn't know. That's all. So yeah.
So now you know, guys.
Practice it. That's the key thing.
Okay, so you've been around for a long time, like in the Christian space, even online. What was that like? What made you? Because you started off with YouTube, right? If I'm correct.
Yes.
What made you start that and start showing your Christianity outwardly? Because I feel like you grew, like we saw you mature, if that makes sense. So like, take us to that.
What made me want to start? I actually can't even remember what made me want to start, but I remember we started. I think. Oh, you know what? Yeah, back like 2013, I think someone wanted me to do I had a friend that was already on YouTube, and so she was like, oh, can you you should start YouTubing and stuff like that. And I was like, for what reason? It was like, oh yeah, you say you got some good stuff, you should put it out for people to hear it and all that kind of stuff like that. So I was just like, all right, like, let's try it. So she put her phone up, and I remember speaking to the phone. I was like, this is dumb. Like, I was just like, this is dumb. Like, no one's here. I'm like speaking like proper, like full force and all that kind of stuff like that. And then she was just like, no, like, keep doing it. Da. So I think like one day I got a camera and I just put it in my bathroom. This is where we started, because the people always said like, well, why do you do YouTube videos in your bathroom? It's like, I lived in the hood. The only place the sun was the only place the sun would hit was the bathroom. So I went in the bathroom and sat on the edge of the bathroom and I started doing YouTube videos, and then like people were feeling it, I guess, and I was just like, fair enough. And then we went from there. So that's how we started.
Because I do remember a time, I think this is when I kind of came in contact with you. Well, came across. I won't say came in contact. Came across you because I remember there's a time, especially around on Twitter, where you was very.
Yeah, that's why I see you mostly.
I don't use Twitter, innit? So
Them
I've only
Twitter
seen-
days were crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell us a bit about those sort of times.
I apologize. whoever sort of come up on, cause it happened overnight. There was a video that I shared, a clip I put up, about talking about relationships, and then someone with a big following, they shared it on their thing, and there was neither or. They were like, "What do you guys think?"
Mm-hmm.
What was said?
What did you say?
What did I say? I said something along the lines of, "Oh snap! Oh yeah," I said, "Women always pray for something like this." This is not exactly what I said, but along the lines of, women always pray for a man that walks with God, but they don't know what it takes to support or house that. So it's like, okay, you want a guy that prays, and you want a guy that does this, and you want a guy that's active for God, but do you have the system and structure in place in your own relationship with God to be able to handle that same thing that you're answering for? Then the next thing I said was vice versa.
They
Man,
don't see that part, I guess.
but they can't. That part was cut out.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, and it was on site.
So all the women came out.
Not all the women.
Okay.
Like, a lot of people was like, nah, but a lot of people was feeling it as well. So it was almost like someone will quote it and be like, he's talking rubbish, look at this guy. But their friend would like it. And then their friend would follow, and that's when, like, boom, just following just came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh snap. But then with that, there was a lot of immaturity as well. Because like, when I look back at, everyone thinks that we're powerful and we're mature and we love God and all that kind of stuff. Like, just look back to yourself 2 years ago and think if you still think the same thing. And so when back then you think, oh yeah, emoji, people are following me, la 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 la, and all your character flaws come out on the timeline. I'm really slaying people on the timeline. Like, I disagree. I was like, I disagree with your mum. Like, just a madness. Like, people, huh?
You wrote that?
I don't, not like, listen,
No.
I might not have said exactly that, but we were slaying people and like,
That's why I don't use Twitter that much, because it's like there are some battles that I know if I responded, eventually the person, if I come across the wrong person and they catch me on the wrong day, you'll just see me coming to church with saying an apology with a statement. So I thought, let me not put myself in that situation. So I'm literally in and out of Twitter or X now.
I mean, at least you know. So
That's not how I came across you, by the way. I just saw you had a big following and I saw you. So I wasn't saying that, you was wild and anything like that. I just meant the whole kind of experience sort of thing. I know you had a massive following, and I saw some of your tweets about, things about God and stuff like that. So I knew that's how you I guess prominent on the Twitter space as well, but I didn't know the intricacies. I just kind of wanted to get a bit of a story behind your story in terms of like what was it like for you.
yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good. I mean, like, you're in a place where you can influence, you can affect, you can change. But you're also in a place where, like, you make one mistake, like, that's
People won't
it,
forgive
like
you.
the situation. But like, overall, the whole experience was good. Like, to be in a place where you have say, you have influence, and you can cause impact and change was good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you have to learn how to control yourself, and when people are in your mentions, like, people know, like, someone added me. I don't use Twitter no more, but I went on Twitter the other day and someone was like, like, remember the days of who was your favorite Christian influencers, and someone had put me in there, and I was just like, oh snap. But like, me and my friends talk about it all the time, it was a very crazy time. Like, the Americans we used to come for the Americans. It was so wild, but it was awesome.
Was he active around during the Christian Twitter times or probably around lockdown?
Me?
Yeah, was he on Twitter?
I was around. I wasn't as active as I used to be. So I used to like, I was about.
Okay.
Like 2016, 17, 18, my maths, 18, 19, them times there, that was like the pinnacle of Christian Twitter. And then 2020, I just started to fizzle out because I ain't got nothing to say. So yeah.
What were some of the lessons that you kind of learned around that? Looking back on that period, rather.
Some of the lessons I learned.
Yeah.
once again, like you're just not that guy. Like, no, because
Less of me, more of him.
Bro.
yeah, like
Literally.
yeah, no, for real, like because you think that first of all, social media is fake anyway. In terms of like, let's like if you think about it, like one day someone called me a general of this generation. I said, based on what?
In general.
Yeah.
A whole
And I was like, and I said, oh, based on what?
jeez.
And they was like, oh, and I said, listen, everyone that
Man,
we
like Smith
respect,
Wigglesworth,
like most people that we respect and we call men and women of God, is because they can tweet well, or they can put good Instagram posts up. And I said that
Not
doesn't
always the fruit.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, even forget fruit.
Yeah.
The fact that in this day and age, all you have to do is be able to tweet well to be classed as a man and woman of God, crazy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, all you have to do is be able to like post something good on Instagram, and you're classed as a man and woman of
And
God.
show
I was
that
like,
you're going to
I was
speaking
like
engagements.
crazy. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I was getting
And these days,
I was getting-
ChatGPT can
Yeah.
give you up a tweet. So
Yeah.
literally, like, it's a bad.
I was getting speaking engagements all sorts because of my tweets. I'm thinking, like looking back at it now, I'm just like, wow. But you know, we still had issues and all that kind of stuff like that, and it's just like, yeah. It's my biggest reminder is just forget about them and focus on yourself and him, and just personal development always. So yeah.
Can we go back to your tweet, the one that went viral, and use that as a way to segue into relationships?
Wait, before we do that,
Okay, go
can
on.
I just say, yeah, I appreciate the fact that you started YouTube because in the UK there weren't really people that I knew other than from TBN, like, and they were like an older generation, but like just seeing like young fresh faces who were on fire for God and loved God, and we could see that through the screen, really helped me to feel like, yeah, like, you know, this is I'm not abnormal for like doing what I'm doing, like loving God, because I've known Sean for a very long time, since I was about 17, 18, and we were even I was the odd one out a little bit for a season amongst my peers, where it's like, oh, like Bible basher, this, all I'm doing is quoting like Jesus loves you, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, but this is what the Bible says, and it was lonely, and then to go online and see that there are a few, it wasn't a lot at the time, but a few people who were black like me and were speaking about God unapologetically, still living their life. You see that, okay, yeah, we might need to grow here and whatnot, but I was still I was at that stage. So I think there's a balance. Well, I'm not gonna say balance, but I think it was necessary at that time, and social media was new. So, like I said, other than God TV, Joyce Mayer, or them man that was on there, I wouldn't have had someone to relate to you. So thank you for stepping out, even though you must have been.
I hear that all the time. Like, a lot of people I meet, like, oh, if it wasn't for your YouTube channel, A B C D E F G, and it's amazing to think that like people. Someone said to me, it was like sometime last year. There was like when I went to uni in the middle of nowhere, and there was like no community. There was like no help, all that kind of stuff like that. And there was like literally your YouTube channel like helped me through so much, and I was like crazy. So no, in terms of like the impact it's caused and what God has used me and others to do through YouTube is like, that's definitely like, I thank God for that, and it's definitely a plus side to you know, all this online stuff. I'm not saying online stuff is bad, because obviously like it's the way forward. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so there's this consensus, right, that there's not a lot of Christian single Christian men, right? And there is a lot of single Christian women. So I want to know, from a Christian man's perspective, what is it like for you in terms of just the Christian dating scene? Like, are you of the opinion that there isn't a lot of Christian single women, or there is, or like what do you think is that is going on?
I think statistically that there's more women in church
In general,
in general. So there's always gonna be the ratio of women that are going to be saying, oh, there's not as much because statistics, that word right?
Statistically.
Just before you continue,
Yeah.
you saying that there's not statistically,
Guys, really?
there's not. Sorry, I was just joking. Statistically, there's not a lot of men in church. Is that what you're saying?
Not that there's
As
not a
much.
lot. There's not as much. There's
There's
more
not as
women
much.
in church.
Okay.
The
than men
ratio
and
is
men.
always more women.
However, are there in comparison to Christian women, are there the same Christian men? So not necessarily about you coming to church, but you should be in church. If you're not in church, why don't you fellowship?
Yeah,
So I guess
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
I'm trying to work out what's the question.
no, because my question is like, yes, there's not. I know a lot of men
Yeah.
that don't go church.
Yeah.
Who say they're Christian.
Okay.
Say they.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but they.
Okay. Are they?
Are we
But
talking?
do- no,
Are we
because-
talking? Are we talking about? Are we talking about like? When we say Christian, we're not just using the title. We're talking about.
Yeah,
like,
I'm talking
actual-
about
Are they
real
saved in the Holy
Christians.
Ghost?
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
that you
they,
can
they
actually
were born in
marry.
a Christian
That's
home.
why I started to swallow my
They
comment.
have to be mature enough
You
to
realised.
marry.
I realized
That's what I
halfway,
mean.
but I had to land. I couldn't just stop in the middle of the air.
Okay.
So sorry, carry on.
Where we at? Where we
Just
at?
keep saying what you're saying. I was
No,
I was
Georgia,
speaking the
she, likes
thought.
to, she thinks out loud.
Yeah, that's
so
what-
Yeah, I
she's
do that. I
processing
do
the
that.
thoughts.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you for. Thank you. Now they understand.
Okay, so where we at? Are we going with that?
Just
Or are we going?
No,
with
go back to
whatever
you.
you
Go
were
back to you.
saying. Just
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it.
yeah.
She needed to settle where she was wherever she
Okay.
was. So
Alright, cool.
statistically,
Like,
there are
yeah.
more Christian women, so there's going to be generally
Yes.
that voice.
So there's going to be that standpoint that there's not a lot of men. Like I don't. As a guy, it's never been difficult for me to look around and be like, oh, there's not a girl to choose from. Like plenty. Do you understand? So from the guy's point of view, and I mean, I'm okay looking. I'm not the best looking. I'm okay, right? So that might have a thing to play in terms of it's like I can not in a cocky way, but I've never struggled to. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I mean, but like in terms of, I feel like a deeper question on where it goes is, this is where we might go back to 2016 council times. But what I like, or what I've understood is, when you look at a particular lifestyle and a level of living, for women, it's tough down there. I feel like when you get into like ministry levels of living, when now you're full out, God's using you, A, B, C, D, I think it flips a bit, and then men start to ask, where are the Christian women that like this is not.
I get you.
We're the
Do you
Christian women that
understand?
do.
I'm
No,
very
no.
surprised.
No, I'll tell you what. Okay,
Huh?
I could get in trouble for this, but
I need to understand the
Do it,
question.
get in trouble.
Okay,
Go
because
for it.
I think the point that he's making is to marry a man of God that's like working in ministry is difficult.
Fine.
Is difficult. So to find a woman that can handle that is hard to find.
I
Are
remember-
you telling me we don't know women that can?
No, but when we say women that can handle it, I don't mean like she can. I'm talking about like, so interesting thing in scripture is like a woman is supposed to be, when we go back to Garden of Eden and we see Eve being introduced, she's a help meet for Adam. That word meet means equaled out. So it means that, okay, if God gives me an assignment to carry a table from upstairs to downstairs, the strength needs to be equal.
Right.
Like he can't send me someone that's weaker than me, otherwise it's going to be unequal. Paul is going to be unequal equal work. That's what we call unequally
Equal
yoked,
yoke,
right?
yeah.
So when we talk about, can she handle that? If you're in ministry and you're heavy in and you've got to be doing this and you're in prayer and you're in the word and you need a woman that can equal that spiritually as well, or come somewhere near that. Do you understand? So when we start talking about, okay, from us as a standpoint, like, all right, cool, so where's the woman at? That's what we mean in terms of, yeah, they're praying, yeah, they're reading, yeah, they're in church and they love God, but are we talking about ministry level where we can walk hand in hand and carry this thing out, what God has got us to do? Or are we just talking about, just in church and loving God?
Do you know what I agree? Because to a degree, do you know why? Because some Christian women just do.
Think they're deeper than they are.
Yeah, and we see sometimes that you're not as mature as you was thinking you are. Just because you're a regular
Because I know how
attendee.
difficult I am. That's why I always praise my wife, because I know how difficult I am.
Yeah.
Like, as I said before, that I'm the sort of person that if I'm going that way, I'm going. If you like, stay there, but I'm going. So when you're ready, when you've had your time with God, He will let you know that this is where we're going, and and make sure you meet me there. If that makes sense. A lot of people's like, no, I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go yet. Like I could think of, imagine your husband you see your husband outside lying naked on the floor. You're like, what kind of madness has come upon you? God told Isaiah to do that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We saw when Saul's daughter, she was angry with David for dancing like almost, he's a king and he's like disgracing himself publicly. Are you ready for your husband to be disgraced like that publicly?
I mean, it depends on the ministry that you're like.
You started.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Well, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, because you asked me a question one time that would, if there's a prominent pastor, or he's a pastor of a church and he's not yet married, and she asked me, could I marry him if he was to move to me or something? I said, because I personally know that the amount of sacrifice. I'm not that mature yet. I'm not. No, listen to what. Listen. No,
exactly. You don't get more mature.
Man. Listen, man. I'm still working. Look, okay, I'm not gonna be. Look, you lot get me hot. I'm not gonna sit here.
I'm not saying you're perfect. But
I know, but him, this particular person, he doesn't even like. I'm still saying I need to cut down my Netflix time.
Oh, I know who.
Do you understand?
About. Okay, fine.
So you know, I'm not even there.
I get you, fine.
Man doesn't watch TV. He finishes church and goes back and watches another sermon.
So that's what's doing you.
No, but I'm saying I haven't yet gotten to that place. I'm not saying I'm not gonna get there. And those are things I'm working on in terms of my character. If I get to that point and I'm there, and that person now comes to me, obviously I don't think that's ever going to be a thing. But that person comes to me and says, "Oh," and I can be that person that's going to support you, because you imagine I'm a wife, I'm watching Netflix, man wants to watch the sermon, like dear, let's pray, like, you know, there's a hunger for this, and let's go over, let's study this word, and I've had a busy day, I'm tired, because. Why are you laughing?
You're laughing heavy as well.
You acting like you don't watch football, like when you want to.
Did I say no? No, because I'm thinking it.
Who the person is? I'll tell you after.
I don't know who the person is. It's like I'm trying to think who lives like that.
Trust
But
me,
hey, listen, there's a reason why some
person,
people are causing mountains to move and they're moving.
Guess. Just try and guess who it is.
I'm not going to say on who.
Yeah, you can say it. I can cut you out. Just say it. Guess who it is.
Do they live?
They don't live in the UK.
Okay, then I won't know then.
Apostle Joshua Selman.
Okay, fair enough.
So you can see that I'm not.
Yeah. No.
Do you know who Apostle Joshua Selman is? Like he's on a different. I'm like, no. Even if I can just get 10% of what you have, like that's gonna make a big difference in my life. I'm not saying, like you said, not saying that I'm not, mature from where I've come from. But I'm, like I said, I'm still on that journey, and I haven't made those sacrifices that he's made that will require me to be a wife for him now, today. Maybe in not 10 years time, in a year's time. By God's grace. No, but this is the thing. But I hear what you're saying, man. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Fair enough.
Is that it? Yeah, that's done.
I just wanted to know his opinion.
So what do you have to say? Because
So
do you agree or disagree?
in relation to what he said, what's your thought process now?
I think there is. I think I know women that can.
Marry Apostle?
No, not Apostle Selman. Is everybody like that? Everyone's not like that. You have to look at the pool.
I think we should.
You have to look at the pool in where you are. And I can sit here and name 10 women now who are single, Christian, proper Christian, can handle being with a man of God.
10 women.
Yes.
That we both know.
So? Yeah.
I think it depends on what the man is called to you. You know, there's some certain men who are called to like carry heavier. I'm not gonna say heavier, but it's like more. Like, for example, like if he's a minister of a church, like he's a pastor of a church or whatever, that's a different. Because you need to pastor the people with him.
Yeah.
You know.
So in relation to what you've just said, is there room for potential? That you're seeing someone that is not there now, but given the right level of investment, they could.
Potential. Don't marry potential.
No.
He's talking about
No,
from a man.
but I'm talking about from a man's perspective.
Ain't that even okay?
I think it's similar. I think it's
the same thing.
I think it's similar. I feel like
yes. Let me let you land.
Yeah,
I'll chip in.
I got to take off first.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think when we talk about potential, you still need to be wise with that.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, there's always room for growth and all that kind of stuff, and that potential is like it's not guaranteed. And there's many things that you have to check with potential in terms of, okay, like what's her vision? What has God called her to do? What does she know? Where's she going? If you get with someone and say, all right, cool, like I'm doing this, I'm interested, but like right now, I'm not sure if it could work in a dynamic that we have right now. But I'm willing to work and I'm willing to whatever. Where do you think you're going? What's the plans? What do you want to do in terms of ministry? Are you even called to ministry? What do you want to do in life? What's your vision? And she can't tell you. It's like, and this is vice versa, but because we're talking about
Say
men.
that louder.
This is vice versa. But like, for me, it's like it's a gamble to say, all right, cool, potential. Do you understand?
No,
like,
of course.
There has to be at least some sort of
Something that you can see.
there has to be something there for you to say, okay, I've got something to work with, not just blind potential.
No, of course.
People can, people can develop, but there has to be something there. At least where you're going. But with that, it's like obviously everything's led by God, because what you think you want and what you actually need is two different things. And we love to make our decisions based on where we are.
Yeah.
And it's like they might be good. She might be good for now. But in 2 years, when you develop what you connect over, what you bond over now, what makes sense now might not make sense in 2 years. And so it's always when we're talking about potential, it's always best to hear God.
No, of course. Because I know there's definitely a risk. The only reason why I say it's different for a man is because there's a responsibility on the man to lead. So at least as part of that, God's assignment for the man is to teach the home, teach the wife, etc., wash over the washing the word, etc., etc. So whereas, a woman that's saved and a guy that's nowhere, he just turns up to church, that's more risky because it's not the woman's responsibility to lead the home. Whereas God has given the man the responsibility to lead the home. So there is a level of teaching, training. But obviously I agree with you in terms of, I'm not talking about a man's potential should be looking for someone that's just out in the streets or outside of, still within the family of God, someone who's fully saved, sanctified, holy. Obviously there's kind of, especially with a man that's in ministry, because of the responsibility that's upon his life, he becomes a target for the enemy because of, he knows that if a man falls, strike the shepherd, the sheep are scattered. So I understand that there's a higher, I guess, propensity for a man to get it right, a man of God rather, to get it right compared to etc. That's kind of where I get the balance.
I'm with that, but I'm also, where do you draw a line with that? It's not that I disagree. Where do you draw a line with a man leads, but then there's leading and then there's making someone into what you want them to be? And I feel like if they're not, I feel like I'm not married, and I'm sure whoever's married, you're married, so you're better to talk. You can talk about this better than I can. But as a man that leads, he's supposed to work with the potential or work with the flow. Like the woman brings, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with that. I'm not making you into what I want you to be. I'm helping you develop into what God has called you to develop. And because our destinies are aligned anyway, you just we naturally work for each other. Then there's a woman, and then there's like, okay, I'm going to mentor you, I'm going to train you, we're going to pray 6 hours together, we're going to do we're going to come up with just to be fit for me. I feel like that's...
No, it's bad. End up wrong.
No, but I think the balance really is in terms of knowing the difference between what I want in line with scripture and what God wants in line with scripture. So, for example, having a woman that can, I don't know, that's shaped in a certain figure, that's nothing in line with God. So there's no benefit to that whatsoever. But having a woman that is conversant or serious in prayer, that's a non-negotiable, if that makes sense. So they're the sort of things where I'll kind of draw the line. Also, recognizing the gifts that she has and knowing what she can bring to the table compared to someone who's designed to be, like you mentioned, we spoke about ministers who have a wife that's not actively involved in ministry. It's not their place to be involved in the actual serving of the church, more kinds of maybe raising the children, looking after the home, compared to there are certain wives, that's in an Aquila and a Priscilla situation where she's actively involved, knowing as the man, as the head of the home, it's important that I know what gifts my wife has so I can know what part she plays within the ministry.
Yeah.
I guess that's where the balance will come with that.
I'm here for it.
Just for reference, I'm growing still.
Your husband could be watching.
He could be, I don't know.
He's like, damn, she's
so
not ready.
Not to say I'm not ready. Like, I pray, like, you... Let me just stop here. This is not
I've had the benefit of hearing a lot of single women's perspectives. I don't have many single male friends, So I want to kind of get your perspective in terms of how do you find, as much as you say, yes, it's difficult finding someone that can match in terms of where you're going and specifically, what is it, I don't know if I'm repeating the same question, but what is it kind of like for you specifically? If you don't mind sharing that.
I mean, it has been, and this not to say that they're not out there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, God, where are the women? I'm not saying it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easier to. Everyone looks like they're flying for God in church. Do you understand? And then when you get into talks with them, it's just like, oh snap, all right, cool. Like it's not. They're saved and they're doing what and they love God, but like it's just where I need it to be. It's not necessarily there. So for me, it's been a lot of in the past. It's been a lot of like you talk to a girl, she's nice or whatever, but then like in terms of spiritually, she's saved, she's good with God and stuff like that. But it just doesn't make sense in terms of what I do and where I'm going. So, that's what the experiences have been like, and a lot of girls want to be like, oh yeah, but lead me there then, like take me. I'm just like, nah, like I'm just like, I'm not even being, I'm like, yeah, alright, cool, if that's what you want, then take me. And I'm like, nah, like you're supposed to be on that already, and I just work with that energy. Do you understand?
Just for clarification's sake, what is it that you
okay,
like?
just on a basic thing. Now this is me personally. I'm not saying that this is a standard for all men.
And is this what some of your friends are saying as well?
Yes.
What you're saying?
No.
About to say?
Do you have single male friends?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, can we hear like what you lot say in your group chats?
I'm not in no group chats.
Or whatever you say in your conversation. Just so we, because
this is what I've heard from a few people, and I'm in a ministry with obviously a lot of guys and all that kind of stuff like that. But for me, all right, cool. I've been in positions where I've had a dream or something like that, and I'm just like, I don't understand this dream. Now my girl, this is in the past. She, not even about that stuff. So it's just like, all right, cool. So I have to go to another next person.
Not about that stuff. She doesn't believe in dreams.
She believes in dreams, but she's just not at the maturity where she can understand or interpret or help. Do you understand myself? So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna have to go to another person, and the next person I know that knows how to interpret dreams is a woman. So now I'll go to the woman. I say, yeah, this is the dream. She's like, oh yeah, this is what God is saying, da 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 da, and God is saying blah blah blah. And next season is, I'm like, ooh, I'm like, ooh, because you're like, and then there's stuff they experience like, I need you to help me pray about this. You go to your girl to pray about it. Yeah, I've prayed about it. Is God saying anything? No, I haven't heard anything. And someone else will be there feeding you what God is saying, coming to you like, I heard this scripture. And there's just a synergy in that area when it comes to the relationship with God. It's just like, dang, like.
So why don't you just get with that one then?
Because it's not that simple. it's not that.
Maybe she's married.
It's not even that. It's just like there's many reasons. Like you can see someone that's like that and still not think it's the right one, or still not be attracted, or there might be an issue there, or all that kind of stuff.
Is it more the attraction though? Because I feel like attraction plays a big part. Like sometimes what you're looking for doesn't come in a package of what it is you actually want physically.
Yeah, that's a.
So then why are we wasting our time?
I'm not saying that that's it, but I'm just saying it's.
No, I know, but I'm saying if that's the consensus, that because I've heard that before, where it's like, yeah, but that's sis though. Because sis don't look like Miss. Hey, that's a bar. Sis don't look like Miss. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so,
no, 100, and it's a difficult thing because then you have to think, all right, cool. Well, do I let go of to
she'll become attractive with these things.
No, but this is the thing. Like, I don't want to be. You can your girl can interpret dreams. She can help. She can support your spiritually. Like, every time something walks past in church, you're doing this one. Yeah. And in a relationship, it's just a crazy situation to be in. You understand that? It's a crazy situation. Like I'm honest enough to say, she can hold it down spiritually, character's there, but like physically, I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to, and I don't want to have my wife there and be in a situation where I'm just like. Okay. Do you understand? It's just it's a techie one. So I'd rather just stay in the middle and just drift along. I'd just rather just stay on my own and drift along.
It's not to say you can't make compromises on your physical
100%.
preferences.
Yeah,
like, 100%. The person you marry might not be your type, but you're still attracted to them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that happens.
No, you don't think so?
I didn't say anything.
I'm just waiting for your answer. I'm waiting for your answer.
I saw your face.
It wasn't a question.
No, I know you say yeah, but No, yeah, I'm asking for his response basically to what you just said, because I feel like, okay, what are you attracted to then?
No,
Are you
but
asking me?
If they're not, if they're not your type,
but there are certain people that are good looking, just not their type.
Yeah.
So they could be.
so you are attracted to them physically then?
Yeah, attracted to them
So
physically.
then they
But
fit
it's not
into
your
them.
typical type.
but
It's
they're
not what you imagine.
So someone.
Okay, with the physical attraction still there.
Yeah, there's still a physical.
Okay, cool.
attraction.
Then
what's
we're good then.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's
But what if
important.
there's, but I just feel like sometimes, yeah, some people are still single because of this thing, and they should have been doing doing kingdom ministry the way they should have.
Those ones will be they're just rare rather than.
Why do you think it's rare? Do you know how many single women are
It's
out
quite
there?
common actually.
That what
That you would meet someone. They might be Christian, but
The reason why
the attraction is not there. But even the times where I've been like, okay, fine, the attraction is not there, let's give it a go. Even the personality is not.
and that's different.
It's not
Okay,
there.
yeah, but I'm not.
So it's
no.
just like-
First of all, what I'm basically saying, you should be able to have like a friendship, like you know, with that person. It's not that, oh, your personality is dead. You don't look. I said personality is dead, but I'm not physically attracted to you, but you can hold
You
it
can
down
have a
spiritually.
friendship, fine.
No, but I'm saying so then what's the problem? What's the wrong with the personality? How can you have a friendship with someone that you don't like their personality?
There's different levels of friends.
think
There's
attraction's
friends that you
overrated,
see on the
you know.
road, hi, bye.
I think
Oh,
physical
that's not
attraction.
friendly,
I
that's
think
acquaintance.
physical attraction is overrated because some people can glow up.
Okay, yeah,
People can glow
everything
up.
is
Because some of you
packaging.
lot without
Yeah.
beards, yeah, not sure.
Listen, yeah. All I'm saying is physical attraction is overrated. That's what I'm saying.
It's true, no.
No, because I can definitely say I don't think I'm the best looking. I've definitely had my moments where I look in the mirror like, okay, yeah, I see what my wife is looking at, but I know definitely for me personally, I've had to rely upon personality, like having a good personality, making sure that we can vibes with each other, because there are times once you can click with someone, trust me, that will override the looks.
That's what I was saying. That's why I said sometimes even when you try to give it a go, the personality is still not there. So what do you do?
Well,
Just leave it.
Tell them to go and read
You
a
can't
book.
force it.
Let's go back to what Earl said. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he's got his girl and had a dream, can't interpret the dream, praying about something, right? No word from God. Obviously, I don't know the situation with the other person, but I'm just saying, let's say it's just hypothetical, yeah? And then there's another girl who maybe is free and available, let's just put it in that context, can pray and receive a word from God, can interpret the dream. You obviously have a relationship with this person for you to go to that person and share such a dream with this person. So
Yeah,
But
but
if
I
the
mean, we
physical
don't.
attraction is not
He
there.
said there was a complication.
no, I know
so-
in his situation there's a complication, but I'm saying there's many times where there's no complications.
Where? Give the example.
No. Do you know?
There's
Listen.
no complications and go for it, innit? But what I'm saying is this: there's many areas in
Would you
life.
go for it? Okay,
Huh?
let me not even put you on the spot. So,
There's many areas in life. There's different things that people look for. Spirituality is one
Yeah.
of them. And I'm not saying like I'm just saying like when it comes to, in my experience, it's been a lot of areas have been on check, and oftentimes the spirituality aspect hasn't been on check. So when you feel that or you see that, especially being someone in ministry, and a lot of people around me in terms of that are women are in ministry, so they can hold it down spiritually and stuff like that. It's you feel it. I'm not saying for I don't know who else any other guy did. I'm just saying for me, I've been in a situation where it's just like people that I mentor can hold, like, do you understand? But the person that I'm with isn't even interested in what we're doing over here. Do you understand? And it's a very, very interesting situation to be like, you feel
I
it.
get that.
But I'm talking about this is like
in the past.
in the
It's
past.
the opposite for
So
us.
then-
All the other boxes are ticked, but the spirituality.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is what I'm saying. This is the dynamic that
that
you
shouldn't
see.
make any
Weird
sense now
dynamic.
based on what he's just said.
Depends on what you're
Do
looking
you-
for. But I
maybe
think
we're not
I
around
think-
the right type of guys.
But I think
That's
you're both
another
look.
thing,
I think
though.
you're both looking for different things, because from what I'm hearing from him, he's looking for women that are like high, whereas you guys are looking for guys that are.
No, don't include me.
Who said that?
Wait, I'm asking. Okay, no,
Are you asking the question you're saying?
I was saying it, but it's really a question.
Okay, say
Would
the
you say you guys are kind of looking for guys that have at least standard level?
I think
of
with
journey?
Christians as well, we don't mingle as much as like where.
Do you
know
think
what I mean? Yeah. Where do you?
You've been married for 10 years, so
Close, not exactly 10, but
I don't meet new people as well. So
then isn't that your problem? Then?
yeah, that's my
no,
problem.
no, but
Why?
no, that's a lie. We do meet new people.
Where?
You don't meet new people.
Who?
I meet new people all the time. Yeah, like, but I would say that sometimes it doesn't, and I think it works on both sides. Yeah, like sometimes we gas a lot in terms of the level of our spirituality. Like we we can assume that, oh yeah, I'm more mature. Put yourself don't put yourself in any situation. But sometimes we find that actually I'm not as mature, even just in conversation. Why are we on the phone at 3 a.m. in the morning and you're like, I'm not saying that I've done that. I mean, I'm doing that, but why is that a thing? Do you know what I'm saying? And us Christians, we find ourselves in those situations and we start acting like we're not Christian. So I find that the level that I'm looking for, I haven't seen it. And I've seen a lot of guys. Not seen in that. Let me come off this.
It's an interesting dynamic, to be fair. But I think what I do want to ask Earl, because
Are we still in relationships?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to move on?
We can stay here.
No,
let's
because my hair's getting up. We might eliminate this whole episode.
As a married man in relationship, I see how being married as being a good safeguard for me. How is it for you? How do you safeguard yourself, especially with women from the other gender? I mean, women. What am I saying? Women from especially with working with people from the other gender.
When you say marriage is a good safeguard, how do you mean?
Like, so for example, I very quickly, especially when I meet new people, especially when I meet new women, highlight how that I'm married. I always throw in my wife in a conversation just to kind of almost put like a block, like to say, even if you don't do anything, I can't do anything, because at least if I did, God forbid, try and say something, you'll say, well, hold on, you're married. So why are you doing that? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So those are the sort of mentalities that I put in place to kind of safeguard me from falling, as it were. So what kind of safeguards do you kind of put in place to kind of ensure that, yeah, this can't happen?
I mean, you can make the same play. If you're in a relationship, then you can say, I'm in a relationship. If you're not interested, then you just be like, yeah, cool, but I'm not right now. I'm trying to get this money or something. Like, there's other safeguards you can put in place. You could talk about like, I'm not looking right now. I've got other things on my mind right now. I've got other focuses. Maybe later on, but not.
Is that just a way of saying I don't like you?
It depends. It depends. Like there's been situations and circumstances where I'm just like, you know what, like, I'm so focused on this, and it's even happens in relationships sometimes. When I've been in a relationship, I'm even in a relationship, like, you're not even available because you're so focused on something else. It's just like, bruh, you're not even doing your responsibilities, your duties that you're supposed to do in a relationship. So I think there's a lot of safeguards and stuff like that. But like someone just have to be honest with what you want right now. And I feel like it's interesting. It's rare to hear a woman say, "Oh, I'm not." Sometimes as women, we think we're more mature. We think we're better than we are in terms of spirit. Do you know how rare it is to hear that? Because everyone wants to be. Oh no! Like, any man of God, like, I can do it. Like, I'm and it's just like do you understand? And as a guy as well, it's rare to hear guys. Well, I don't know, but like, guys don't often say, I'm just not ready to be in a if I was to be in a relationship, I'll be useless right now because I've just got things on my mind. I've got that going on. I've got this goal and all that kind of stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. It's not always a part. Sometimes we use it as, yeah, I'm not interested, but we'll just say, oh, I've got things on my mind. But in reality, like, oftentimes, well, depending on who the guy is, like, I've just been in areas where I'm just like, you know what? If I was to get into a relationship, when I came out of one of my last relationships, like 2019, I realized that I was just a useless guy. Because I was just so focused on my goals and stuff like that. It was just like when my phone would ring, I'd be like, oh my God. Wow. I just want to do my thing instead. So I hear it 100.
Wow. So this has been an exciting episode. Right. And I've learned a lot. That maybe sometimes us females don't actually understand what the men are actually thinking. Yeah, it's for all of us to kind of check and see where we are and make sure that we are what we want. We can be equal to what we want in a sense, and I like I said, I know that I cannot go to certain levels of not yet. And this is the thing, like my prayer is that I get to that level, because when I look at that pastor, I'm like, no, I desire to have what you have, you know, and I have made changes. Like there's a different level of spiritual development that I've experienced because I've seen these type of people. So not that we can't get there, but I think it's also being aware of where you are be honest with yourself. Don't say, yeah, I'm on fire for God. And the next minute, I'm not even going to say what I wanted to say. No, but let me be real, actually. Next minute, like, man just says, yo, I like you. And then your panties drop. No, it's true. It happens. Let's not lie. Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
No, but we know.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so like, be honest with yourself, and then, like, I think what you just said now about your past relationship, maybe that wasn't even the season. Recognizing that that's not the season, because there's other things that need to be built first. So yeah, like, I think honesty, and then most importantly, hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit. Like, what is God saying about me and my season now? Is this for me? And I heard a story about someone that said, no, I'm never going to marry this guy. Never going to marry. Like, they didn't like the guy, but God turned their heart towards that person. And now that person's the most beautiful man, handsome man in the world to them. So it's possible. But yeah, I'm going to stop ranting. Thank you very much, Earl, for coming.
No, it's been a pleasure.
And guys, yeah, we've been Observe Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, do comment. Tell us what you resonate with, and even some of your experiences, and like, share, and subscribe. God bless you. Peace.